sometimes big things come in small packages. Today we're looking at this little tiny Anker Solix C300 DC portable power station. Now I have big plans for this, and they may not be what you might expect. So let's get this out of the box and we'll talk about it. We got a big thick manual here, and a USB-C to USB-C cable. And our little power station. All right, this is one of those devices that it really is tiny but mighty. I cannot believe how much power they have managed to pack into this little tiny box here. And, you know, when they reached out to me, they have two options for this C300. They have the DC model, and they have an AC model that has AC and DC. And they gave me a choice, and I specifically chose the DC model because this meets a lot of needs that I'll be going over in this video. So first, let's talk about the ridiculous amount of power that's in this little box here. So this thing has 300 watts of DC power and 288 watt hours of lithium iron phosphate battery. They didn't even cheap out and use lithium ion batteries here. I want to put that into context here with something. All right, just to give you a size comparison here, this is an All Powers R600, which is an AC and DC portable power station. But compare the size of this to this, and this have the same battery capacity approximately. It's amazing. This thing is a third of the size of this. By eliminating the AC, you be able to bring this down substantially because it doesn't need an inverter in here. Now, again, they have the AC one, so the reason I opted for this one over the AC one is I have plenty of other AC stuff, but I needed some really powerful DC stuff to make basically a charging station right here on my desk to charge all of my DC devices. So you can see I have all this stuff back here that's from my main solar power system. So my plan for this is to have this trickle charging through this plug here. It has this power strip, has some DC ports. Now they're only like 18 watt ports, but what I plan to do is, and this is hooked to my solar power system. So I usually get to full. You can see here I'm 100% all the time. All right, so by the time you bought all the parts to add USB ports and all that stuff to your DIY system, I feel like this is a much better option to set up all of your DC ports and set up a charging station, which is what I plan to do right here on my desktop. So you're going to be seeing a lot of this because it's going to go right over here in the corner all the time. And I'm going to trickle charge it from my solar power system, so this thing was going to be topped off all the time. But let's go over the specifications because that's obviously not the primary use for this. It's super portable and lightweight, especially considering it has a lithium iron phosphate battery in there. A lot of times these little portable ones, they switch to lithium ion batteries because they're lighter weight, but they don't last as long. So I'm a major convert to the lithium iron phosphate battery technology than the lithium ion. So let's go over the specifications of this here and go over all the ports and show what it can do here. So after looking this over, this is not the manual. This is just warnings and that sort of thing. You should be able to scan that code there and go online and read the manual if you want to check that out. So I'm just going to go over what I know about it. So if you're looking at the box here again, we say 288 watt hours, and it's at 300 watts of DC power. That's a heck of a lot of power for DC. And one of the primary purposes they show here is for backpacking and stuff like that. And it really would be nice for that, to be able to strap that on and carry that around. You can carry a lot of power hiking. If you do day hikes and stuff into the thing with a little pup tent or something, Be pretty cool. So rather than look at this, we're going to go ahead and look at the device here. All right, there's something really satisfying when you get something new to peeling off these stickers. I don't know what it is, but it's very satisfying. Push and hold to turn it on. The screen pop up here. It's a really nice dual color display. So this is what it came with out of the box, 64% charged, which is the perfect amount for safety reasons when they ship it to you. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is charge this all the way up. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and go over all these ports here because this is what you're really looking at. So the extreme power of this power station comes from these two ports right here. These are dual 140 watt USB-C ports. That's really, really powerful. And these are bidirectional ports. So what that means is you charge it with the USB-C cable that it came with, and you do need to make sure that it is a 140 watt capable cable. This cable's a little bit short, in my opinion, but you know, it is what it is. May want to get a longer one. And additionally, one of the cons of this device is that it does not come with the power brick that's capable of charging at 140 watts. And the reason for that is those bricks are rather expensive. I have my own brick here that I purchased that I use to charge my my wife's laptop, or she has a MacBook, and one of these bricks costs $40-50. That's why they don't include it with this. But this is one of the reasons that I got this, is because my plan to do is to keep it trickle charged, and for the price of this, which at the current time is $199, you couldn't buy a brick that plugs into the wall without a battery, without any of the other stuff that this has, for this price almost. To have 240 watt outputs at the same time, and it doesn't end there. So you have 240 watts, then you have a 100 watt port. This is your standard 15 watt USB-C, and then you have two standard USB-A ports here. You got your cigarette lighter port, which can handle up to 100 watts. And then this is where your solar input comes in, and you can handle up to a 100 watt solar panel. So one of the other cool features of this one over the AC one, I really like this pop-up lantern. So you got 3 different settings there, and then it collapses back down. Now, what I feel like probably one of the best uses I could think of for this power station is if you were doing emergency preparedness. You had a big power station, and you know, a big one to like charge your refrigerator and that sort of stuff to keep your food cold. You still need to be able to wander around the house and charge your tablets, and you know, the family's not going to gather in the kitchen around your big power station. So I think this is the perfect companion item for emergency preparedness, to carry around a house, or to, you know, have one for each of the kids. Even would be awesome, that they got the little lantern here, or you're gathered around in the family room and everybody's got their devices, the tablets and the laptops and all the stuff. And again, 288 watt hours is quite a bit. You can charge all of those devices no problem, at the same time, up to 300 watts. Like I said, I'm not going to use that, but at nighttime, what I plan to do is, like I said, my wife has a MacBook computer that uses one of these 140 watts, and I have quite a few devices. I have an iPad and that sort of thing. I'm personally a PC guy. In fact, I can't live without my desktop computer. I can't even bring myself to convert to a laptop. So that's not going to help me with my computing needs, but I do have an iPad and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get this charged up here. We're at 64%. And the charge speed on this is really impressive too. Again, you can have dual bricks. So you can charge, these are bidirectional ports. So you can have 140 watts coming into here. And if you get a second brick, you can have another 140 watts coming into here and charge this thing at 280 watts, which would charge it in about an hour. Now, again, the problem is those bricks that you output from the wall at 140 watts are pretty expensive. They're, like I said, they're around $50 a piece, and you'd need 2 of them. It would cost you $100 just to be able to charge at that rate. So that is a little bit of a con, but the price point reflects it. When you think about it, that just the 2 things to charge at the 140 watts would cost 100. This is only 200 for this entire power station, and that's why it was a good investment for me, because it's like having 2 of these charge things here, and a battery, and then I can have it charged all the time. It's going to be sitting here, so it'll always be charged. And if we take a road trip for the day, we just grab this sucker and we take off. We know that everybody in the car is going to be able to charge all of their devices at any given time. Or if the power goes out, boom, I have a lantern to wander around the house and do whatever I need to do. That's always just kind of like right here. The other beauty of this is it has a Bluetooth app. So we'll go over that here shortly. But we're going to get this charged up for right now. And what's neat too is this kind of leaves it, is you could have it on with this down. So it leaves it just kind of a nice glow. So if you just want to have a little like a night light or something, and you don't need this much light, you can put it down here and it makes a nice little night light. So again, it's perfect for kids, and it's small enough that the kids could all carry around. So if you had a family and you in an area where you have a lot of power outages and things like that, this would be perfect, I feel like, for each kid to have one. They can take it to their room. If they got their little nightlight that they can deal with, they can charge up their devices, because you know how it is nowadays. All the kids got to have all their tablets and phones and stuff, and you're going to never hear the end of it if they run out of power in their devices. So, save your sanity. Get one for each of the kids is what I'd do, if my budget would allow anyway. All right, let's go ahead and get this charged up, and we'll run some tests on some of these devices here and these ports, and we'll see what happens. In fact, the first thing we're going to do is going to check the charge power. I'm going to hook up my 140 watt charger, and we're going to see if we get our 140 watts here. Again, this cable's so short. I already ordered a new cable that's 6 feet long. This thing's about, 2.5 feet or something. I'm going to remodel back here too and get rid of all this stuff. And that's part of what this is all about here. It's going to help me organize things here. All right, we'll get this plugged in here. You see a little light comes on there, shows that I'm plugged in. All right, as you can see here, we got 133 watts coming in from our USB 140 watt charger. And it has the time here is going to be 0.7 hours to go from 64% to 100%. So that's not bad. And like I said, what I plan to do is just hook it up to a standard 18 watt USB port and trickle charge it throughout the day. So it's never using too much electricity from my main system to keep it topped off kind of all the time. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the app here. So I've already got the app installed, and the Bluetooth is turned on, and this is our device here. Go ahead and connect. I got this fully charged now, but I don't have anything on. So you can see we're at 100%. You got your port status of each port it's going to show you. Your carport has its own power button here, and there is one on the device right below the carport there, where you can turn that off and on, which is kind of nice, depending for multiple uses there. To be able to turn that off and on is kind of nice, and it probably saves a little power having it off. And then you got your USB-C ports at the bottom, and you can even control your light here. I don't have the top up at the moment, but we can see that we're doing that. You turn the screen on and off here, and you'd be able to see the output of each port. We're going to go into the settings here. It has a unit timeout, so you can have it time out at a certain time. I have mine set to never. And you can have a carport saving mode. And what this is if it doesn't detect any power or power below 3 watts for 5 hours, it'll automatically turn this off. Depending on what you're doing with this, sometimes you want that to happen, and sometimes you don't. So it's nice that you have a setting in there that you can do that. For example, a CPAP machine or something like that, or even a portable refrigerator, 12-volt refrigerator. If you're already in a cold environment, it may go 5 hours without turning on. I don't know. So it's nice that you can set that anyway. Like, I'm going to turn that off while I'm here. Set your screen brightness, low, medium, and high. Can't really see much difference. There's really not that much difference between those, but you probably save a little bit of power putting it on low. You can time out the screen. I do think this goes off too quickly. I think I'm going to set this for 5 minutes, at least for the purposes of this demo here. The light timeout, so you can set a timer for your night light even or something. You get all nice and warm in your bed, and you want to just turn the light on and have it on for an hour. That's kind of cool that you can do that. You can rename the device here. I renamed this. I think it was named something else default when it came, and I renamed it to this. Your Wi-Fi, you hook it up to your Wi-Fi or your Bluetooth. Either one, that's pretty cool too, that you can do either way. You can select a Fahrenheit or Celsius. And sometimes you can have a firmware. If they have a firmware upgrade, you can just do it from right here. And you restore to the default settings. And what's really cool is that you have access to the user manual right here in the app too. So you have the user manual, or you can go your basic specifications here. So I'm going to go through this so you can read through those specifications too if you want while I'm here. You can always just pause the video if you want. And here is the user's manual. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing and kind of scroll through this whole thing. And you can pause anywhere that you might want to read something in the manual. It's a pretty extensive manual here. So the booklet that came with it is more of a warnings and all this stuff in different languages and all that sort of thing. And then it has access to scan the QR code, or you can access it in the app here, which is pretty cool. There's the code to download the app. We already are in the app, so it's kind of funny, actually. There's a reset thing here. I'm going through this just so you can stop and pause and get any specifications you might need. All right, so the app is really cool. This is one of the better apps I've seen of any of these power stations. So let's go ahead and put some power to a few things and see what displays here. So the problem is I'm really good about keeping all of my stuff really charged up. And for what I'm doing here, I need to have some things that aren't charged up all the way, really, to be testing stuff. So I have this temperature gun camera thing. We'll go ahead and plug that in. And it's about the only thing I think I got here that maybe even needs to be charged at all. Yeah, this is one of those good devices where it's a good example. A lot of things cannot charge with the more powerful ports, and you need a kind of a standard port. So like older devices, a lot of times they won't charge on a PD port. It has to be a standard port. So that's where this is plugging in. It's working just fine on that port, but won't work. Let's see if the 100-watt port works. Probably not. Yeah, so sometimes PD ports are not backwards compatible. So that's kind of a shame, really, that they have that. That's not the fault of this. It's the fault of a lot of devices that you use to plug stuff in. All right, just to demonstrate, I don't have a whole lot of things to charge right now. So I'm going to charge this mini pocket light that I got, just so you can see in the app and on the screen here, it pop up. It's only going to take 5 or 6 watts or something. But you can see it here on the screen, and then also on the app there for that port. So it's really cool that the app shows you the wattage of each port and what it's drawing, so you can figure out if something is hogging a little more energy than you need right now, if you're really trying to conserve energy at any given time or whatever like that. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's the app. So here's my final thoughts on this. I think this is an incredibly powerful, small, compact device that I was really excited. It's one of the things I've been most excited about in a long time, because it really solves a need for me as somebody who has an off-grid system already, and I want to add USB without having to buy a whole bunch of different USB devices and stuff. The way that I could set this there, be ready for an emergency with a lantern and everything. It's the perfect device for anybody who has an off-grid setup already, or if you already have another portable power station and you want to be able to walk around the house and have a lantern and reside in another room besides where you need the majority of your power if you have an existing big portable power station. And even if you don't have a big portable power station, a lot of people can get by with just this for, you know, several hours of a power outage or whatever. And you just need to have a lantern and be able to charge your devices, because, you know, Murphy's Law says that when the power goes out is when your phone's going to be pretty much dead. So having this on hand would be awesome. And then my plan is to keep this charged all the time, ready for an emergency at any given time, having it plugged in to even a standard USB. It does need to be at least 18 watt in order for these to activate the charging. So we need any 18 watt charger, which is most things nowadays, can charge off of that and trickle charge. It'll take quite a while at 18 watts to fill up 288 watt hours, but you know. I think for most people's purposes, that's more than acceptable, probably. And again, that's probably why they don't try to force you to have a big brick that can do 140 watts. That's a luxury for people who really need that. Use this all the time, and you have a MacBook and you need to travel a lot with it or something like that. It would be important if you're at a hotel or whatever to fill this up as quickly as possible so you can get back on the road or that sort of thing. But again, I think its primary function that they marketed it and designed it for is this backpacking and hiking and camping and that sort of thing. But I said, I see the most value personally for my off-grid system and for emergency backup and lugging it around. And again, I think that these would be a fantastic device for every kid in a house to have during a power outage, because you know how kids get scared, and having this lantern and being able to have their devices charged is a great idea. I think the price point on it is perfect for that. For a lot of people, I understand that, you know, some people that would be an excessive amount of money to have each of your kids have one of those. But for a family thing, I think there'd be a great starter power station, even if you're just kind of getting into emergency preparedness. I think this is a great starting location, because keeping your devices charged and that sort of thing. And for $200, and you check the links in the description, because they're putting this on sale all the time. So check the description and see what the current price is. And I'll link over also. Sometimes they have a sale on their website, and you can get a better deal on their website, and then sometimes you get a better deal on Amazon. So I'll put links to both there. So I recommend clicking both links and checking to see, and I'll see if I can get a coupon code that I can share also down there in the description. All right, well, power stations is kind of a new thing I'm going to start doing on this channel a little bit. So, you know, be sure to like and subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. Go ahead and click right here if you want to see some of my other power station videos. I'll put a playlist right here. And that's it for this video.